me? Actually, I mean, is there a match history summary maybe on their tracker that I could see? And
Yeah, I
maybe
can
it's not
actually
just from the match history you can tell what the problem of the tournament is easily.
okay. Let me pull up Fortnite real quick and show you the match history. Honestly, I would say it was just end games.
Yeah.
There were a couple of mid games where we didn't quite get there, and then I think honestly just tournament fatigue a little bit because we were really close to. If we would have just played a couple of better games at the very end, we probably get in. We probably make it past
Yeah,
probably.
yeah. I mean, we'll figure it out, but I do want to confirm your theory on it, which is like your theory is like is that the end games are the problem. Let's take a look and make sure that's the case. So if do you have their tracker that we can look
Uh,
at match history?
I'm just booting up Fortnite right now, and then I'll just tap
Oh,
over
okay,
to the
okay,
match history.
okay,
Yeah, so you
okay,
can
okay. That
see.
works. That works. That works. So we'll watch in the meantime while you're doing that.
Hold on, let me pull
Um,
that up, and then yeah. Okay,
I mean, so this is game one. It's actually very useful. You can see both POVs.
I know, right?
Yeah,
I did have their audio turned a little down, unfortunately, on the stream. I didn't know
that's
that
all right.
until it was too late, so you can only hear my comms, unfortunately.
No worries. My question is, how the hell are they this scuffed already? What happened? Something else. This fight happened. So, okay, mistake number one is walking too close to the bush. I
Okay.
think. Let me just double check. I think the whole fight started because they walked too close to the bush, which caused the initial beam, and then the team thought they were gonna actually like fight, like they could fight him. But you can just avoid
This
all that
isn't.
by not
Is
getting
this?
beamed.
Do they have 34? Is this the first game?
Was it? Was it getting keep from the bush? Hold on, I'm gonna make sure.
Wait, oh, wait, hold on. I don't think this is the first game.
Why is it?
Hold on.
You sure?
Here, hold on. I got Fortnite up now, so
You might be right
let me
because it
show you
says
the match
8:45
history.
on your time. Yeah.
Let me show you the match history real quick.
Sure. 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 Sure.
Can you see my screen share? Okay.
Yep. I'm about to hop in. Watching. Yeah.
So there's the
Yeah.
match
I
history.
took a screenshot and put it in chat just so you can change to whatever you want, but just so I can look at it. Okay, so 10th,
Yeah, I'm
8th,
also gonna
mid
snip
game,
this
mid
whenever you're
game.
ready.
10th, 8th, mid game, 7th, mid game, win, mid game,
They start to get a
also
little
on
bits
mid
of
game.
fatigue.
Yeah, but you see I see the issue. I
Mid
think
game,
how okay, what was qual? Remind me and then tell me what the
299,
points were.
299,
99 was qual and what did they get?
219.
Uh yeah, if they get two more end games that are 8th quality, then they're good. There's a lot of mid game deaths.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
worry
just
that they
that.
run out of time though. I worry that they run out of time. That's the
They
only
won't
thing.
because you have time for 7 end games.
Yeah, so like that's the thing.
Six
So like
six if you're like mess up a little bit, but like yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4. They played 4 end games.
you're right. So
See,
well, one, two, three, four. Yeah,
I expect 5 at the minimum. If you're gonna play 4 end games, yeah, one solution is to just pop off in all of them. That's hard to do. That requires usually the type of people who pop off in all of them are like round 3 type players because like they know end game to the macro sense like really well to the point where it's like super easy that they can just like top 2 every end game. That's hard to do at this level, with their level. So it's really important that, in my opinion, the more applicable solution for them is to like have more end games, have more shots on goal, because
okay.
like you're not a good enough shooter to hit every shot top right corner in the pocket, like easily. So they just still have more shots on goal. So like if you get like a random 7th, it's not the end of the world. But like the type of player who can get top 2, like is really experienced. So
Yeah,
like to
because
expect them to
honestly,
get
like
4 really good games is tough. I don't expect them to do that.
that's true. That's true. So if they,
You know?
so you want at least 7 good end games. So you
I
should make it
I,
to end
I
games
want
at
to
least
fix
seven
the mid
times.
games here.
Okay.
We could watch all of it, and because I could speed run it in literally like 10 minutes this whole tournament and tell you all 10 games mistakes. I'm not even joking,
I
right?
mean, let's just go and let me see what you think. I'm gonna snip this so
Are
that way
they
you have
online
it.
right now by chance?
No, they're not. They're not. That's why I was thinking of
Neither
doing
of
it.
them.
No, no, no.
Can
Well,
you do me a favor and
so actually, let me check. Shep
yeah,
might actually be online. Hold on. Did you get the
okay.
little thing?
I just want to add him on Fortnite. That's all. If they can accept
Um,
it, then we're good.
I don't know
And the
if I can
reason
do it.
why is because it's faster to VOD review on the client than it is stream. But I can still do stream. Actually, honestly, stream could be good. I just need to confirm that this is game one. I mean, we could check. Let's see when they die.
Yeah, I don't know if I can have you add them because of company policy. Because you're an
Sure, no
external.
problem.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Let me just double check what place they got. We could do it on stream. It's not a problem. Like this stream and stuff. Just see when did he die? Because if I can see when they
No,
died,
this
I can tell
isn't.
you what game.
This is like round three. This is like the third one.
Wait,
First one they
round three?
die like 10th. This is like game two or three. Yeah, I
Okay,
don't.
okay. So this is 8th, which is game 2. So we only
Okay,
missed out on game 1, which doesn't make sense. Oh, this is game 1 at 20
there we
minutes.
go. All right, here
Okay,
we go.
so we do have the whole thing. Okay. So look, I mean, let's just skip game 1 and 2 for now, because we can talk about endgame mistakes later, since the primary goal is to actually fix the mid game issues first. So let's go to
Oh, is this the one where we
game 3
camp the
first.
bunker? Yeah,
Sorry?
okay, so there was a play. So one of the things we were doing, we were trying to camp bunker, and I was trying to
I'll
get
ask you.
them.
Yeah, go ahead.
You can just go watch. Actually, you can just watch.
Can I ask you a question?
What's up?
Do you believe bunker is needed every game?
No. I really
Okay.
didn't want to. It was hard because we were dropping that one place that we kind of game planned for.
Yeah.
And we would either rotate the vault and we would generally rotate vault, but if zone pulled our direction, we would then like get this bunker was basically the play. So this went badly. This was a bad play.
Yes.
Honestly, this was a bad play on my part. I called them to try and camp this bunker. There was a team inside of it.
Do they go
They
bunker for metal or for loot?
for loot.
So not for metal. Do they have a metal alternative other than bunker to fix
Yes,
their metal?
yes. The
Okay.
metal
So my
alternative,
question to you is why bunker here?
it was in zone. We felt like we could really, really hold it down. They felt like they wanted. It was also a joint call. They also wanted to play bunker, but it was how
Okay,
we approached
yeah.
this
So
team that was.
I'm aware maybe all three of you wanted it. Objectively speaking, it's a bad call because it doesn't matter if it's in zone. Let me give you a good example. Let's say cash is a thing. It's very similar to bunker,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Let's
It's
say
the same
cash is
thing
in zone.
practically. Yeah.
I have max loot, like max shield, max everything. I'm good. Maybe the most I could get out of the cash is upgrading from a green to a purple shotgun. Should I do it in round 1? Hell no. In round 2, hell no. Like, you see?
Okay.
Here's why. Because if you have a 9 out of 10 loadout, taking those, although a small to medium risk of getting keyed, to contest something that is desirable, to go from a 9 out of 10 loadout to a 10 out of 10 loadout is not a significant upgrade to compensate for the risk that you're taking on. If you have a 6 out of 10 loadout because you have one big, like, no fizz med kits, because that's shit, right? That's not good. Then going for bunker has a very big upside comparatively to the risk. So then the risk reward is worth it. Right here, the risk reward isn't worth it because the reward isn't high comparatively. You're not upgrading your loadout significantly to compensate for the risk that you're taking on. And there is a risk. It doesn't matter if you get there first.
So let's say
Proof
you
is the
get
game.
let's say you get a really, really good loadout. Let's say you get a really, really good loadout, right?
Yep.
Should you just rotate to like probably the position in zone that's going to give you like the highest probability of getting next zone? Should you just immediately go there even
In
though you
round
may
one,
get
no.
grief?
In round one, no. In round one, the assumption that I make is that everyone else has no clue how to play the game, which is actually pretty accurate, right? So they will not do things that is good for themselves. They will key you to grief themselves, and they don't even know it, right? You have to assume in round one that every other player in the lobby, unless you're in a very high elo lobby, has no idea what they're doing. And so because of that, I actually trust round one players less than round two and round three players. So because of that, I actually don't rotate to positions where I pull zone. I rotate to positions where I don't get keyed. So the most important thing here is exposure. Can you get
That makes
into a
sense.
bush and AFK? Because I don't trust other people. So if they see me, they will key me. I make that assumption because yeah, that's what they do. I mean, here's the proof.
That's basically what they do. Yeah,
Like boxing up isn't even good enough. Like I
I
would say
know.
boxing up is a mistake. So then bush, like like speed run your off spawn such that you can get to 555 and this loadout, then sit in bush and wait.
I
Because the
mean,
only thing that keeps you safe in stack games is the tension of the stackness. Meaning that if someone were to key you in that stack lobby, they would get server sprayed by everybody. But because in here there's no tension of the fact that there's no boxes around you that'll shoot them if they key you, then they are free to do so if they want to. Now, if this was an
Yeah.
unstacked game in round 3, the players in that game will not probably key because they know that placement's super important. But in round 1, they have no idea, so they will just key you, which is why exposure is really important.
No, that actually makes a lot of sense. So you would
So
say
going,
in
yeah,
round
like
one,
going for bunker, I'm not even kidding. Even if you had a slightly worse loadout, I would still say exposure. So you had one big here instead of like, yeah, fuck it. Like, what do you actually need? The game will be 15 people by moving. Why are we overcompensating for what we need? You know,
true.
like,
Okay. I hear
like
what you're
that's the
saying. I
thing.
hear what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah, really
We don't
important.
we
By the
don't
way, what I'm
always
saying.
go we don't always go for bunker like every game.
Sure.
We did this one more. There were a lot of more
Yes.
games where we didn't really have the loot, so we did play the bunker. Also, bunker is kind of easy to camp in and kind of do what you said, which was kind of
Yeah.
camp and go AFK, which was another reason why we went it. Um, I hear what you're saying. You know, I hear what
I
you're
would
saying.
say it's not bunker necessarily. Bunker is just like an exaggerated version of non-exposure because people will key you because you're on bunker. But my main idea is that exposure is the problem. So even if you boxed up, like like it would be the problem. So like this game's problem is like going for bunker because I don't think you need it. But like the next game problem will be something different, but it's related to exposure in my opinion. Like I already know like like that's why they're dying mid game. If you
So
did
when you say
exposure
exposure,
properly,
how would we fix exposure? How would we fix
uh,
exposure?
I can show you an example of a good gameplay that has very low exposure,
Alright, guys.
so you can see how it's fixed. This is from years ago. Uh, just to show you how would you fix it? You speed run loot so you don't need anything like metal, so you don't waste time, and then you just find a bush or inside of a building. You just hide yourself, right? Where's the game? I'm trying to look for it right here. Is it this? I think it's this one.
Look at like
No, no, it's not this one. Wait, what?
look at it look like.
Why is this not this one? It should be this one. I'm gonna open both because I'm not sure which one
Look
it
at it
is.
look like.
Is it this? Yeah, it's this one. Oh yeah, look.
Fighting. It's quite literally possible. So if you
Hydro's a tier 1 pro in EU. Okay? And he's playing round 1 solo cash cup, right? So round
Okay.
1, it's the same concept. Exact same concept of like just reducing
need
exposure.
attention
So
and
he
mobility.
lands Butter Barn, if you remember that. You don't even need to remember that. It's not the important part. So you go to your drop, you get the loot. Then you max out your metal. Max mats ideally, but metal's the most important because wooden brick you can get later. Then look, sit still and play safe until fifth zone. Fifth zone is when moving start. And then you
That was
just
back in the
you do
day.
your mobility. Sorry?
It's now isn't it six through eight are the 50/50s, and then first moving is ninth.
The movings were different back then.
Yeah, back in the day, there used to be nine. Now there's 12, if I remember right.
Yeah, yeah. So
There used
there
to be
used to
nine.
be 9 total and now there's 12, and so but the concept is the same,
So would you still
right?
say to sit still until fifth zone, or would you say sit still
As
until you
long as
have to?
possible.
Okay,
No, not fifth. Until movings. If this says until moving, it's more accurate.
gotcha. Okay,
So like for all the static zones, you just play safe. And then
gotcha.
moving, you still play safe. You're just converting your mats into time or safety, and then you just tarp or whatever. But like Spider-Man box, basically what that means is just like you're using mobility,
Yeah,
you box up safety.
mobility
Right,
box.
and
Yeah,
then
mobility
if you
box.
think
Yep.
about it in this meta, what's the mobility this meta?
Well, we have a couple. We obviously have the Flowberry Fizz was like
That's what it is.
the
Yep,
big mobility
yep.
item.
So then you fizz box, fizz box, fizz box. You
Yeah,
try not to tarp until you absolutely have to in third and fourth moving. Right? And that's it. Like look what he does, watch.
an end
So he
game.
loots.
Okay, it's
This is what you just need to copy as a duo, by the way.
that simple.
It's not different. It's a round 1 strategy.
Round 2, he gets third place and he makes money.
Okay,
A
so
lot of
he's
money.
farming.
Event complete.
Third game or Sam?
Look, in his drop, this is how scared he is of other people. He's a tier 1 pro, by the way, so you think about his fighting. He's so scared of other people that as soon as he gets the loadout that he needs, 6 minis, one slurp, by the way, not even that much. Green guns. He has 120 build, not even max, right? This is how important he cares about exposure to the point where like he'll skip stuff to get to the safe position or the hidden position faster.
I think
And then in his own drop, he goes to the basement and AFKs.
he
Yeah.
didn't
So he disappears off the map.
have
Does
wow.
that make sense so far?
Yeah, no,
I
no.
don't remember.
And then when zone pulls, then he'll expose himself because he has to. But he will not expose himself unnecessarily.
Third game, but
Like, okay, you could be like, oh, but he's missing slurp fish. He should go fish. Disagree. It's not round 3.
he had movement.
That's a mistake. Why do you need 3 Swordfish? Look, watch this, by the way. So he accidentally runs into somebody. Tier 1 pro, by the way. He could have destroyed this kid. Places 3 walls and runs the opposite direction.
He's a pro player, right? He could kill this guy. The problem is, what's the state of his loot gonna look like after he kills the guy? That's what's important. He's probably gonna have to
That's
use
true.
Swordfish. He's probably gonna have to use a lot of mats, and it's not worth it. It's a risk.
2 years ago, like almost 3 years ago. It's
And
not
there's
new.
also a risk of getting third party. So what does he do? He farms wood and then leaves. He could have fought this guy. This guy sucks. Like, he probably knows he sucks. That's not the point. It's why take that risk. And eventually, I want you to see where he goes. He's maxing out his mats right now. He's trying to get 555. He's also trying to work towards zone.
If zone was on him, he would be in this push. But it's not on him, so he's going to zone.
Like, he goes for tags on people, maybe to check if they're white. But without an advantage, it does not make sense to WK. 555 sits on a hill, chilling. And the thing about Spider-Man is, like, you don't need center. The only center I would, fight for is center third. Every other center is
Center third, because back in the day, if you got center third, you pulled fourth
Yeah,
guaranteed.
yeah.
Alright,
everything
so
you didn't need because you can really, really strong.
that's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
And look where he sits in this zone.
An endgame tool. Watch this, by the way. This is
Does
crazy.
he box up? Nope.
I'm pretty sure this is the game where he does it. And this is where he's gonna be for the rest of the zone, by the way. This is, if you don't want to get W keyed, don't box up. This is a common mistake a lot of people make. Is they just box up and then someone else, right, comes along and keys them, obviously, because they know they're in the box. So don't.
The reason why I'm making a big deal out of this concept, because I know for sure that this is how you fix all your mid game deaths.
Yeah,
all of them
honestly.
are fixed by this, right?
It's obvious.
Because I can see the times at what they die. I'm not talking about this game. This is off spawn. But every other game, 9, 9, 8, 12. That's how you fix them. You got keyed.
Either sit like this, like how Ijo is sitting, or sit in a bush. Honestly, I prefer this over a bush because it's not obvious that you're behind.
I don't think there's anything else. That's it. I mean, do you have questions about that? Do you want to check the other mid games?
It's honestly pretty. I
Very
understand what you're
straightforward.
saying. Yeah, it's very straightforward. I didn't
Straightforward.
think
Yeah,
to do that.
it's
I
not hard
didn't
at
think
all.
to do that.
Wrong as well.
I just didn't think to do that. I mean, I just didn't have that mentality, I guess. But this is why I'm meeting with you,
I mean,
just to think
have
about
you
it.
played poker before?
Yeah, absolutely.
Poker and Fortnite are very similar. High level poker is all about managing your risk, right?
Right.
And like not making calls where you don't have to. Like if you're ahead on the table, you should not play risky because you're gonna
That's
win.
true. Yeah, because why? Why you have all the money? You
Like
have money.
why? Like actually why? Like exactly. It's the same thing. Look at you're ahead on the table. Like you're good. Just stay AFK. Just only make calls on hands that you know you're gonna win. Which is there's no reason to do any of them here, in my opinion. Like let's say you AR beam someone for 180 and they're right next to you. Okay, fine, you can jump in their box. Fine. But like the reason why I make it so strict, like don't fight anybody, is because I don't trust the judgment of the players I'm coaching to make the right call. So then you always go to the extremity to build the foundation. Like you say, like don't key anybody. It's not right to not key anybody, and at the higher level, that's why you don't see pro players doing that. But in order to learn the idea to be disciplined, you just make it easy for them. Don't set like the decision tree to be extremely complicated. Decision tree is super simple. There's only one path. Don't key anybody.
I hear you.
Like sometimes they'll snipe someone, knock one. I'm like, why are you pushing? What do you gain from getting this? Just AR from far and run away. Like what? You want to upgrade your shotgun? Like when do you actually shoot someone in endgame in a round one? Like like rarely. You just tarp and collect your placement points. Like it's just so I don't know. That's why like after 2 years of not playing the game, I can go back and qual. It's because it's just all game sense, right?
I hear you. No, I hear you.
Yeah.
This is a little bit. This is very
Like I would
annoying, actually.
mechanically suck. I'm sure your students would be able to beat me in a fight. Like actually, that's not what's important though.
We do lose this box fight.
Yep. Like, there's one way of fixing this, which is get so godly at fighting that you're like top 20 fighters in the region, or you could just make the right decision when obviously one is easier than the other. Okay, so that's that fight. So let's say next game happens. Let's literally right here. See how we die here. Okay, so they have max mats, and they box up, and then they get keyed. GG's.
No, this is still the same game, right?
No, this is
Or did
the
I?
game 4 now. Game 4.
So we had go back to game 3. So we boxed up and then we got keyed and we died. I couldn't remember. So
Game
this is
3. Game 3
Lavish.
was boxing up on bunker to get Keaton died. Game 4 was Wait, do you want to go back to game 3 after that?
Let me just see. So that the game 3 was the bunker. What was
Bunker
the
depth. Yeah.
next one?
Next
Sorry,
one was
I
similar, but I want to really see like what you should have done differently. So Hydra when zone pulls will start making progress early. So like zone pull, you get in early here, it's just fine. Then zone pulls again. And I want to see how much time they waste when zone pulls. So they're in right now. Then they go out of zone to fight somebody. I don't know why. Also, they're not max metal. I'm not sure why either.
I
Okay,
think we
so
were
they
just trying
knock
to
one,
key.
then they push the knock. So then they get out of zone because they push the knock. The knock here, like pushing the knock here, makes sense because they need mats. But then I would argue, is there a way to solve that without knocking someone? This game, maybe not. Maybe not. We'll have to see.
So really, hold on. Let me just reverse back and kind of think what you're talking about. We really should just be aiming to get 7 good end games.
This is the most consistent way to call round one for everybody, including pros. Yeah,
Okay, so
you can
I knew
literally
we
mess up
needed
all
7.
7 end games, get 15th, and call. It's so insane. You know, like and yeah. So they keep people here. It's just fine. But then like you'll miss out on positioning because of the fact
Yeah.
that you keyed. Also, you made noise, so other people are looking at you, and it's like this is why I'm paranoid of fighting, buddy. It's like don't be so short-sighted to think about it's just about the win on the fight. It's not. It's not at all. It's like can you get there? Like you have to be so paranoid to think like this is the end of it. Like no, but now you're late, which means you're gonna be not your exposure, high exposure, which means people can grief you if they want.
So we just got to be more mature about this. I mean, I guess I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
really
yeah.
think about
More
it this way.
disciplined, more structured. And by the way, one thing I'll warn you about is most students are unwilling to take the strategy because they see it. They have ego. They see it as like bitch like oh I don't want to not fight. Okay, it's up to you. Not qual or not qual and fight or qual and play discipline. So literally like a like they want to qual their way, which is like by fighting. This is very common, but it depends. Like so, some students will listen, some students will not. I mean, the way I convince them is by showing like tier one Hydro who can 1v3 people of their skill is doing it. There's a reason.
I hear you. I hear you.
So game 5, I mean, it's like super. I don't know, like so important. They have max mats. They have not everything they need. Maybe they can get some big. So bunker here makes a little bit of sense. Wait, they didn't even. Was that bunker? What are they waiting for? Oh,
Oh,
they boxed the bunker and then come back.
we didn't get it didn't open.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Damn.
We win
Wait,
this. I think we won
what
that. We
game is
won
this?
that.
This is game 5.
We won that. Yeah, we
But
win
yeah, you
this.
win it because you get 7th. But do you see how this easily could have been a loss?
Yes.
Yeah, that's important. Because if I roll the dice 10 times and win 3 times, or even win 7 times, it doesn't mean the dice roll was good.
And
It's
then
like
here we're
playing
getting
poker.
griefed.
It's like one of the tables I just like took risks like crazy. It paid out. Was that the correct play? Would the world champion say no?
No, this
It's not
makes sense.
about
Honestly, like
yeah.
we should have just been more disciplined in like limiting
Because it's
exposure.
round
I don't
one.
really
It's not
think.
hard. Like you don't want to play volatile in round one. You want to play consistent in round one. If you're behind in round 2 or round 3, because there's less players, because the bottom of the leaderboard, because it's like how do I say it? Okay, round 1 is all of the player base that make it through the very simple qualification of minimum rank unranked, right? So there's a lot of people, which means
Yes.
elo is very strong. Which means if you are behind, you'll actually come back very easily because the game is so much easier. Round 2 and round 3 is where you being behind on elo is actually not that much different. I mean, you'll notice the difference in skill, but it's not as much of a difference as it is in round 1. Like round 1, if you're behind, the people in your lobby is actually just completely like it's crazy how big of a difference it is. But in round 2, round 3, if you're behind, yeah, I promote playing risky. because it's like being behind at the table in poker. You need to come back. You need comeback mechanics, so you need to take some risk. But
Okay, so round one, don't take the risk, but round two and round three,
round
you would
one, like
say.
the call is so easy. So like just chill. Like taking risk in round one is how little tier one pros don't call. You know there's like that happens very frequently, right? Like tier one pros don't call round one, and that's what you're describing. It's like round one is the hardest one. Yeah, if you play it wrong.
That's
That's
true.
why it feels hard. And I guarantee you, like ButtX, Sven, all these coaches will tell them the same thing. It's like, can you drop your ego and calm the fuck down so you can play it the way it's supposed to be played? Some tier one pros will be like, no, I'm bored, and then do that, and then they get what they deserve. So, like, I don't know, like,
I mean, I think
no,
you're preaching.
not
I think
only
you're
not
preaching
call. There's a
here.
lot of tier one pros who like come close to not calling, and they just barely make it over the line. And
You
then
know,
there's the tier one pros like Tayson, Epic Well, like those types who will call every single time without fail because they're playing it the right way.
I never really
Like
thought of it
that's
this
it.
way, honestly.
Yeah.
So we
It's
just have to
important.
really, really limit our exposure and really just make sure we play really, really
I mean,
disciplined and really
you
well.
you said it well, right? It's like, hey, round one is the hardest. Okay, so don't be complacent about it. Play it the right way. Like I would
That's
be
true.
most careful in round one.
You're not wrong.
You know? Yeah. Like be scared of it. I'm scared of it. Like not calling round one feels like shit because it's like, oh my god, it was so easy. How did we fuck up? Well, it's because we're bored. Like we're not playing it properly.
I am going to share this with my students, so just they're a little young.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you want to help them using, because this concept, this video is perfect, right? It's literally the same idea. If you want to use this video, then feel free. I go back to the video frequently because it's just like literally the concept. It's
Okay.
like there's a notepad
So
with the plan.
I definitely think we
You
can
know,
fix the exposure because I think that was just
sure.
us being a little
You want to
egotistical.
go into the mid game section or end game
Yeah,
section?
why don't we check out
Let's
some
do
of
it.
the end games and see how we can change like because I think as they
Yeah,
start to
it's
progress,
useful to do both sides of it. Yeah, I agree. So let's go into that game. This is
oh
game
man.
one.
So we just have to play more patient, way more passive, limit our exposure, and just
Scared
focus
as
on.
hell. Of the I see round one players as like zombies who once they see you they will lock on until someone dies. Round two that's not the case, right?
Actually, you're not wrong.
I mean that's scary. Like people who have no care for their own life that will grief you if they want to. Round two, I don't think they will not do that at all. In Middle East, that's the case, by the way. So because the pro players don't know any better because there's no scrims, so they will also key you. But they're also very good fighters because that's all they have. But in North America and EU, they're very disciplined comparatively. So like my Middle East students, I tell them to be low exposure regardless. Also,
Gotcha.
the round two and round three in Middle East is not as stacked. Like there's very little surge, so like it matches. But in North America and EU, like you have to, you can be a lot more boxy in round two. Yeah, you could see it like 22 people in game one. Look, it's like fourth, fifth zone or sixth zone here. Okay, so have good mats, get in. Let's watch from here. Okay, the first mistake I see already.
They're split up. This
Yeah.
happened on accident. This happened on accident. I even called out
Okay.
to them in the comms. So that on this rotate, Shep got a little split, but they do get together.
So right now
They
they're together, which is good enough. So far, so good. Let's see how it
the
happened actually.
Shep got a little
IGL
split
blocked the
here.
back. Has to be. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I think it's Shep can't try and fight this. He has to stick
Yeah,
with
don't
rotation.
shoot at people. Your eyes should be, or at least your awareness should be very locked onto the IGL. Like, okay, everyone says IGL fragger. I hate those terms. It should be leader follower. Like the
Yeah,
fragger role is not real. Like, can you mirror the leader? Can you copy them? Can you stay as close as possible? I'm not joking. If you can do that, you are a tier one follower. If you watch my old teammate Death, he plays with Polarized now. If you watch how he plays in endgames, it's actually do less. Less is more. Meaning, don't do crazy stuff. Can you keep like how bored can you be and be okay with it to just lock onto your leader and just stay as close as possible? Because if you do that, you will win. The problem is people are too distracted, and they also feel responsibility, so they feel like they have to do more. Like keep your gun out. Your leader will like make an edit or a play. If you are there, you get a lot of value.
I
So
hear
like
that.
leader follower is way better names in my opinion.
I like that. I like
It's
that a
pro.
lot better. Because we were
Yep.
having Sticky kind of be the leader, and then because then they get separated here, Shep. So
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
then they do get back together here, but they do lose
Yes.
health in this, and that's one of the downsides.
It's really important that they see this as uh really bad, because what I mean by that is like they don't die here, but they should have. And in round 2 they will die, because in round 2 and round 3 people notice the split, see a solo, and punish it. So like not only will he get like cracked like he did, but the people will push him because they're split. So they need to see this as a fatal mistake. It's really important. If they want to fix a problem ahead of time. If that would like, instead of like losing a whole FNCS to like in round 2 once they make it there to stuff like this, if they could fix it, then they won't die to people punishing them for it later on. They could just skip a whole section of improvement.
I hear that. I like the term leader follower a lot better.
Yeah, it's really important. Yeah, yeah. Like Fragger is such a misleading term. Fragger makes it seem like you need to get kills. No, you don't. It's not even true. Yeah, it's a small mistake, but um, not building against height. Yeah.
Not doing what?
So he just look at the bottom screen. Just
Yeah.
got shot
So
from
Shep.
height.
Yeah. So Shep
Yep.
is on low ground. Sticky's in the box.
I just want
This
to
is when they're
see this.
split up, and then they rotate down the mountain.
Oh, they literally have no shield. Yeah. So look, yeah,
One of them gets
just got shot
sniped
from
basically.
right here.
Yeah. So Shep is following.
So he gets shot from height, right? Last known aggro, right?
Yeah.
Pauses for like 2 or 3 seconds, and then instantly moves again when you see heights focusing you guys. So what that means is if you do want to move, which I agree with, like get back to your teammate, then you need to build above you. But there's
Oh,
also a
I
huge
see.
element that is wrong with this game, regardless of whether he makes it or not, which is their loot, right? Their loot is they have no shield. So
Well,
then
they
if
run
we
out.
look back
They
at
lose
the
shields because they got separated. So the separation is what
no, no,
caused the
no,
fact that.
even now, look,
Oh yeah, you're right.
only 3 minutes. How is that possible? Well, let's take a look. Exposure.
Oh yeah, you're right.
You had a
So
fizz.
ultimately, the big problem that we have is exposure
I made the
because no
point,
one
right?
gets
When
reach.
Hydro ran away, like you're gonna end up with less loot. Why would you trade that for 1 point?
You're not wrong.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if they had the opportunity to hold more. I don't think so. Like the loot that they have is like, so like this game would be a good game to go for bunker. Oh yeah, they have 2 splashes here, and then they lose that too. That's a big deal. Like that sort of thing matters. 2 splashes is potentially 100 HP in late mid game because you just double splash. Like you share it. That's like too big. So yeah, it's a big deal. Yeah, like they ran into 2 fights, which is
Oh, this
like
was
you
before
can't.
they were.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But you know what I mean? Like they ran into 2 fights that are completely fixable. That's how you get from 8 to look. A lot of people when they get like bad loot end games, they think like, oh, I need a refresh. That's the band-aid fix to a problem that already occurred. So if you can fix the problem that already occurred, which usually happens in the mid game, because mid game is the prep leading up to end game, right?
Yeah.
Like if you have a good mid game, chances are you'll have a good end game because you'll always have a stacked loot end game because your mid game was so good. So there's a problem in the mid game, which is the same problem as the mid game as to the reasons in the like they died in the previous games, which is exposure. So then if they just solved that problem, they would actually have hella shield, which means they may not have died in the end game.
That's true.
That's yeah, that's one of them. One problem. The other problem
So
is yeah,
ultimately, the
like not
big the
building.
big problem the big problem is exposure. The
Big
overall
problem is
arcing
exposure.
problem. The overall arcing
Yeah,
problem.
that's why I wanted to go that direction is because like every team that suffers in round 1 that I've coached in the past is always mid game issues. Sometimes
well,
off spawn issues, but that's more common in round 2 because in round 1 no one has off spawn strategies or good glide, so you will just beat them just by being like half decent. But in round 2, teams with that experience will often die off spawn. And I feel like
yeah.
round 3, round 4 is end game issues because like usually the type of people who can make it there are good enough off spawn to make game. Like it's just there's so many patterns across teams. It's interesting. But yeah, hopefully
And
that
then you.
helps. You
Oh
know.
no. I think this is what we needed to hear. I think this is what we needed
Yeah.
to hear.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see the next end game. I think it's this game 2 here. Okay, so this game they have good loot. So far, it's so good. And as you see, the loot just disappears.
Yeah, I think we got massively griefed. If I remember
Yeah,
right, we
honestly,
were
yeah, you're right. This one doesn't seem like exposure.
well, we boxed up.
Seems
We
like
should have been at a bush. Now that I think about it.
yeah, because how many people
Oh
are
yeah,
there?
these
Yeah,
people literally
this is
keyed
still
the
unstacked.
crap out of us. We literally were like so mad about getting grief like this. We shouldn't have boxed up. We should have just chilled in the building to limit exposure.
What do you think about extreme accountability, even though it's not real in improvement? Like what I
Say
mean
that
by
again.
it's not real, it's like it doesn't matter if it's true or not. It's still good to think it was your fault because once you make that assumption, then you'll look for the solution.
Well,
So
it's always. I mean, like I understand where you're coming from. I always think it's really important to always look at what you could have done better. Always. That's the only way
right,
you can get
because
better. Honestly,
the only
I hear what you're saying. Honestly, it looks like our biggest problem was just the fact that we get griefed because we overexpose ourselves.
yes,
That's
because
our
a
only problem.
common reason why people don't come to the exposure conclusion is because of the fact that when they do get keyed, they're like, "Oh my god, unlucky! Like we got chosen. Like we
Oh,
got
I hate
griefed
that.
because
I
they
hate
wanted
that
to get."
mentality. I hate that
Yeah,
mentality.
yeah. And I don't even blame them because it's like it's very easy to like like look at that like getting keyed by a player like an enemy and see like oh well, there's nothing we could have done except maybe like win the fight. But then like it's very if you have the mindset of like extreme accountability, like what could we have done no matter what, then you might find the solution of like we could have avoided this fight altogether by being invisible.
I agree. Okay. No,
You know?
I think the way you're approaching this is gonna change us a lot. It's gonna make
Mhm.
us be able to get past like obviously round one and then start to
Yep.
get even better. Because
Mhm.
honestly, I've always felt like they were really good at endgame. Like but I guess
Yeah.
I kind of got hung up on the wrong issue because we just weren't making it because we keep getting griefed and we don't have the mats.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
it
like, there's
feels like
some mid games, like,
exposure
it's not just
is
exposure. There's other skills to like fix as well, but exposure is the easiest one to fix. That'll give
yeah,
you the
it's
highest amount of
honestly
like
not
value
as
right away.
it's not a super
Not
hard
hard,
thing to
right?
fix. Yeah.
Not
It's
hard
just
to
drop your
execute on at
ego.
all.
Just drop your ego. But I guess we're also used to just I'm also newer to this, so we're all kind of used to just watching like pros just rip through lobbies
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah. Watching pros in round 1 is not useful, except for like Haijo, like people like that. But again, people in round 1 duos will just key. But like, I don't know how to explain that in a good analogous way, because like it's like someone who could easily qual 6 different ways blindfolded. Watching them to see how they qual is not useful, but like watching how a incapable team like fighting wise how they qual is like very much useful. You'll see them camping. Like the pros can like qual round 1 very easily. Just keep people like they don't care. But like, round 1's not a problem for them at all in any capacity. Like they could qual so many different ways if they wanted to.
true.
So then you have to be very selective about which pros you watch if you want to learn about round 1. If you watch them in round 3 onwards, it's very useful because they don't depend on they don't just out mechanic people because they can't. Difference is not that large. So then they have to outsmart people with good mechanics, obviously, but it's like it's not dependent on mechanics. Yeah, if you told a pro like, yo, I'll give you like yeah, like, I don't know, like how would you guarantee that you qual round 1? Like for sure, they would do it. Yeah, they're just bored too. I don't know. I just wouldn't watch them that frequently for round 1, just very selectively. So yeah, I mean, look at their loot this game.
They're shambles.
Yeah, 50 white HP like this. They just got shot at like crazy mid game. It's not just exposure. Exposure is part of it, but it's also rotations, like not building properly, just fixed through experience scrims.
So how
I
can
mean,
they build
to some degree, like,
better in these
sorry.
specific cases? How can they build better in these specific cases?
VOD review how you're getting shot at, like where are you losing health? Here's a good example.
So anytime like you're losing health, you want to assume that you should have built in that specific position. Is that what you're kind of saying? So
Yeah,
like
then ask
always
yourself
try and
why didn't they build? Is it because they're slow to react, or did they not even know that the shot could be coming from that way because they're not looking?
that makes
Knowing
sense.
why is important, right? And here you see him staring straight ahead when you've already cleared that area and you see there's no boxes there. So why do we need to be looking where we're going when you could look sideways? Like when you're rotating, you should be looking at threats. When you look forward and you see no boxes in front of you, you don't need to look forward anymore. You need to look to the sides on boxes so that what instead of the notification of aggro being your sniper shot, their sniper shot hitting your body, it would be an edit being made. So then you react and build to the edit, right?
I hear you. Yeah.
But that's only possible if you're looking at them. So it's not a late reaction issue or a mechanical issue. It's just he's not looking the right way. That's why he gets sniped. So with that in mind, if you look at it again, you'll see it. It's like
Yeah, he's
no
not
boxes
looking
in front of
around.
me.
He's
Yep.
not looking. He's not looking behind
It's
him or anything.
super tunnel vision, like blinders on, right? Like just looking straight forward. So then, like it doesn't even matter if you don't die from this. Number one, you
You
could have,
practically
and it
die.
happens
Yeah.
to my teams all the time. But number two, even if you just get body shot like he did, now you just lose heals, which is a very very limited resource. And mats, by the way. So yeah, you just like your life expectancy in the game is just going down and down significantly every time you get hit. It's not about surviving; it's about thriving as well. Like making sure you go into endgame with good stuff. He's still not looking. You don't have to look where you're headed.
That's something I
A
didn't even think
definition
about.
of a
I didn't
bad
even think
rotate.
about. I didn't even think
Sorry.
about that. I didn't even think about
Yeah,
that. Yeah, like rotating, but like keeping awareness the entire time. This is something I didn't even think about.
yeah. It's I mean it's Schrodinger's cat to some degree, where like we talk about, like you have to check the bush to know if there's someone in there. You have to look to your like the way I like to think about awareness or like how people look is it's kind of like you know fog of war in video games.
Fog of War? No, no, I don't.
Yeah, fog of war is like anything could be in the dark if you don't look at it unless you turn the flashlight on, right?
Oh, okay,
So
I get
like
that idea. Okay.
anybody could be looking at him. The only way he can know is by looking there to confirm if it's true or not. Similar with the bush.
Oh, I
Anybody
see.
could be in the bush until you can clear it. So you need to assume worst case scenario. So like, but the prerequisite to finding out is by looking.
Man, the game sense here is insane. Your game,
It's
this
kind
is
of
like
like I mean it's
next
just
level
like a
game
like
sense.
everything's dark, right? And you're just like
Yeah,
this,
but
and you're
like I
just
never
staring here.
thought to be so like hyper aware when you rotate, like being super
Yeah, you
aware
need
because
to.
then you get griefed and you got to spend your mats first before you lose the health because health is the most important currency.
Yeah,
Mats
yeah,
is
yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
This is
Like
like
the
this is
student I
like a
was just
game
talking
sense
to.
masterclass. This is like a game sense masterclass.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important. Like it's actually very consistent across many games. Like looking is really important. Like it's how you can gather information. Information is like him editing to look at you. Yeah, that's how the pros do it. It's like how do the pros free rotate? Well, they like stare at threats, and if the threats don't edit ever, they'll literally like just move for free. And the
So
definition
like
of a good rotate is like not having many threats on that rotate, so then you just don't need to look at much. Because if you have like 3 or 4 threats and they're all different directions, you can't possibly stare at all of them at once. So then it must be the rotate that is bad,
no, that
unless
makes a
it's
lot of
super
sense.
stacked, right?
This is so like I feel like I've grown a lot just listening to this conversation. I feel like you're
Yeah,
really teaching me a
yeah.
lot. I'm learning a lot just from listening to this.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. Do you have any questions about that topic?
No, I think I now have a much better idea on how to rotate. By the way, are you more of an advocate of rotating late or early? And when do you
Uh,
choose which one?
Early as much as possible. In the like middle and late game and movings, right? Because like it's just more useful. Like when I say when possible, I mean when there's like little threat, right? And if there is a threat, can you find a way to force yourself past it without getting hit? If so, at a low cost. If so, then early is always better. In unstacked games in early zones, late is always better because you just become more less exposed. Like if you're in a bush and you're dead side, and then zone pulls off of you, sometimes it's just better to stay in the bush longer, less exposure, instead of rotating deeper into center.
I hear that.
Right? Like it's not about positioning in unstacked games. Like you get like because in unstacked games, no one's holding you because there's such little people. There's very little tension in the game. So then you can just rotate late all the time, and it's still free. In stacked games, or later in the game when there's more tension, because like even if it's unstacked in the beginning, as the game progresses, the circle gets smaller. Moving has like a lot of tension. Late rotates will get punished because you're always getting held,
Yeah.
right? So like it's not worth it. Like you're gonna get punished. So you just force through early as much as you can. Most of the time, in my personal opinion, there is an early rotate that's really free. People just need to look for it. Like it exists. The only time like you're forced to do a late rotate is like super stack late game. Or like a very late mid game circle where like it's very difficult because it's like a round 3 lobby. But like round 1, round 2, I swear to God, it's so possible to early rotate every single time without getting hit. You just need to look for it. I mean, a
That makes
very
sense.
common analogy that I like to use is like waiting for. Did I show you this before? The popcorn.
No.
Okay, so there's an analogy that I like to use. It's like you're in the movies,
Yeah.
and there's like before you go to the movies, which is like here, you get popcorn, right? You want popcorn, and then there's like a line, right? And there's like maybe 4 queues because they want to serve them very like fast, right? Efficiently. So if this was like the line setup, and this way is empty, and you're waiting here, like this guy's gonna get mad if you just like why would you not go here? You don't like just because something is blocked in front of you doesn't mean you can't just go right and have the freest rotate. Like look, have wider vision so you can see that the rotates. Right?
This
Like
is
this
so
is
much
free.
more like, man, I feel like I'm learning so much from this. Like just how
Uh,
like you're approaching this. Like, but
yeah,
like
yeah,
the awareness that you have to have when you rotate has to be so much higher.
yeah. Because a lot of people when they say like, "Oh, I don't have a rotate, it's not free. There's someone in my way," they don't look wide enough. Right? They just look forward with blinders on, so they see the box, and I'm like, okay, well, can you like look? Can you widen your vision? Like, can you look out more to the right and left? And sometimes, if you can't see anything because of terrain, that means your positioning from previous zone was bad. So you always need to try to position in a place where you can see next rotate freely.
I
Like
hear
you
you.
box up in the wrong spot.
I
That's
hear you.
number one. And then there's like predictive, meaning if you can predict dead side, like which is very possible. It's like very easy to do. You can see the distribute. It's almost like you're in drone free replay. Like you can see where everyone bucks up before you actually see it, so then you could go dead side as well. Like that's an option. But yeah, like I don't know. Like it looks so crazy that this rotate is like free. Like this path is free, and you're
And
not
then you
going.
wouldn't go there. Yeah. It would be
It's like
almost as if like you were
at the
waiting for
cinema.
the movie.
That
Yeah.
just looks so crazy.
Yeah.
You know? But like, why not do that in Fortnite? Like it's free. Let's go. Like what? A really good example is like let's say this is the zone, and then half pulls right, and you're here.
Yeah, yeah. So
But like there's
50-50
like a
match
hill
pull.
here and you can't see, right? But we know this part is free. So let's go to the hill and we can always pause if we need to. But chances are if you just go to the hill, have really good habit of looking wide and you see like a box here, box here, box here. Okay, you go to the hill, get that information, you don't even need to box up, just go. Like, you know? Like why do we need to like the thing is when people don't see what's over the hill, they get really scared. So then they'll just wait. But I'm like, what are you waiting for? Like the information will not change. The only way you can find out more about whether you can go is if you get over the hill and then get here and then gather the information. Like a lot of people just wait for no. It's like they're like very feeling based. They're like, I'll go now. Ask them why. They're like, I don't know. I just feel like it. But that doesn't. It doesn't have to be that way. Go as like the very simple statement that I make for rotates is if it's free, go, and that can be segmented. Like it's free until the hill, so you need to go to the hill.
If it's free, go. I like that. I like that. If
If
it's
it's
free,
free,
just go.
go. If it's not free and genuinely not free, like you have wide vision and you see that you're blocked by everybody else, sucks because honestly, it's fixable from previous zone. Like you probably box up too close to a lot of people, so that's why it's not free. You didn't plan ahead 2 rotates in advance, but you can at that point, yes, you have to wait. If you're talking like short term, like if you're just solving for this zone in this game, then like you just have to wait until like someone moves and like maybe the right line in the cinema finishes up and then it's free, then you can go. Yeah, fine. It'd be rude to butt into in front of people, you know.
Yeah.
So Yeah, I would say that's how it rotates. It's very simple. Yeah, if you want one sentence to say, that's the sentence I would say.
If it's free, go. I like it.
If it's free go. It's not about early versus late. It's like the only reason it's late is because you can't. Like it costs too much. That's wise or heals wise. But yeah, any questions so far?
No, 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 no. I think honestly this could probably fix all of our problems. How can we,
Yeah,
so like,
yeah,
do you feel like how, so obviously I have the cup schedule in advance. I'm really planning on us doing a lot more like duo cash cups. I
yeah,
think the F Performance Eval cups are also really really good as well.
yeah,
Because those are
yeah,
duo and they kind of track, you can kind of track points and how well you do there versus like a qual.
yep.
Obviously we had the vital scrims, and then would you recommend that they grind like the promotions in that rather than trying to grind rank?
100%.
Okay.
Now,
Um,
like mechanical routine should never be paused, but in off season you can go for them harder. But in a major region like NA or EU, it's really important to grind for promotions. Like I think it's very useful. So what I would do is like even during off season, despite the fact that like this is what I recommend in off season, which is like pure mechanical, like go like really hard into mechanical skill development or fighting in off season because that's the time that you have, so that when the new season comes out, you can like go harder. I think experience is so important that I actually think that as long as you have like a warm up or like daily training routine for mechanics, like 1 hour, 1.5 hour, then the rest of the time is spent promotions, in my opinion.
okay.
Because like usually round one type of players have good enough fighting already, and they lack in game sense. So like as we know, like improvement is most effective when you focus on your weaknesses, because
Yeah.
those are the lowest hanging fruits. Like you find um, disproportionate amount of improvement compared to the time you invest in weaknesses. Because everything is like it tapers off. Like once you get into like a tier 2 pro level, improvement's very slow because you've already picked off all the low hanging fruit. So now it's like really minor stuff. That's how you become a tier 1. But like like in their case, because they're like, in my opinion, their fighting is better than their game sense, so then they need to focus game sense, so scrims, even in the off season.
Okay. Then we know what to work on.
Yep, yep.
Man, because they are really really good fighters. But I just didn't even think of all of this stuff. This is why creative players struggle to make the transition.
Yeah. And the bias of focusing on what you enjoy or what you're good at, which is usually what you enjoy, it makes everyone suffer. I mean, I suffered from that at a tier 2 level. What I needed to get better at a tier 2 level is fighting. Like I already understood the game very well. But if we got keyed or we needed a refresh, I would like mess up mechanically. So again, it's like goes back to your weaknesses. And I enjoyed VOD reviewing so much that I just kept doing that more and more. So then I was very unbalanced as a player. Like but like
Yeah.
I fell victim to the bias too. But it's important to be conscious about it and aware about it, and then like fight against it. And it's gonna take mental effort to do that because I imagine they don't enjoy scrims. They probably like creative more.
No, they actually want to do more scrims. We actually talked
Good,
about it kind of
good for
after.
them.
They
Good
were
for
like
them. Yeah.
we were talking about separating practices up and doing more scrims. Actually, literally like I'll read the message that Shep sent me. He sent it me today. Literally said it today.
Yep.
Oh, look at this. Literally tonight at midnight. Dwight, you trying to scrim?
Yeah, it's
They're
perfect.
literally trying to scrim tonight. They haven't even watched this.
That's good. It's good for them because they're on the right path, and most people are not willing to scrim when they're good fighters. They'd rather fight because it's like you feel better when you get to destroy people. So, but yeah, I mean, this is the feedback. I think if you apply this, you'll do very good. Like even if especially because they're focusing on scrim, they could become a round 3 team by next season easily. You can skip round 2 if you
That's
practice enough.
amazing. That's amazing. We
Yeah,
just have to practice
yeah.
scrims. Okay, so scrims.
Scrims with the focus, and this will improve you to the point where you need to. But you scrims with the focus of actually trying to promote. Because once you get into the next lobby, like, so I mean, the steps will be as follows: like, you'll VOD review and scrim as like a loop until you get good enough to promote. And once you promote, you'll face a higher, like a bigger challenge, and then you just do that again. And it's challenging. It's not easy, but it's how you improve. It's growth. It's gonna feel challenging. It's like growing pains. So you just push for it.
I'm messaging them right now.
Sure. Do you have any questions before we head out? Like anything else you
No,
wanted to
no,
ask?
no. I'm probably gonna send this. I'm probably gonna upload this VOD and then send
Can
it
you
to
do me a
them.
favor and send it to me as well? I want to actually listen
Yeah,
back and watch
absolutely,
it.
absolutely,
'Cause
absolutely.
there's some students of mine that could benefit from the round advice as well.
Yeah, I honestly, It's
Yeah,
actually amazing the fact that literally, like as you said this, like they're literally in here, like you want to scrim.
yeah, yeah. That's good.
Because like they're so good at fighting. Like I know they're so good at fighting. Like man, they crush everybody's soul when it comes to like literally anything. You know,
Yes,
I think it's just I didn't even think about like the exposure. Like I didn't even think about that. Like I didn't even
yes,
think of that as like a concept. Like I guess I kind of subconsciously knew it, but I didn't think of it in the way that you think of it. Like the way you
yes,
described it.
yes. I mean, you remember LS, right? Or do you know who LS is?
No.
He's one of my like coaching. Him and like Vagar V2 they're like professional League of Legends coaches.
Okay.
And LS was very famous for like um poker analogies.
Oh
In
yeah.
esports, poker is like poker and chess. Chess teaches you logic and turns. Poker teaches you risk reward. If you have
Yeah.
that, forget esports. You learn how to do so much in life, how to make
Yeah.
decisions. Like, and I've never
No, I like
played
chess a lot.
poker seriously, and I can understand how it's important. Like, I probably played poker a total of like 10 times, and I've never done martial arts in my life, but I can understand how it applies to Fortnite.
Oh yeah, no. I think there's a lot of things that can really translate from martial arts into this.
Yeah. No, it's so crazy. I love. Um, it's so fascinating. That's why I love. Like, I can't. I would never stop doing this, man. Like, it's super fun.
Yeah, it's such an interesting industry. I know. I keep thinking the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, when you upload that, please send it to me. I would love to watch it back and yeah, see what I can pull from that. But
Definitely will. Definitely will. All right. I'll talk to you soon.
sounds good.
Thanks,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. Have a great night. All right.
All
Take
right,
care.
you too.
Bye bye.